Right, so maybe not so easy to see, but there's all the blue laid down. I do need to come and touch in here. I try to blend that in a bit better to match the other side, which I was quite happy with, and it's turned out to be not as good as I'd like. So, having given the airbrush a bit of a clean down, we'll pop some more white back in it. Just blow it through. All the blue out of it. Clean the colour up. Get some white. So it's my mix of insignia white I used to paint. And the sides. So blow through until all the blue paint is gone. And then we'll come back in. And you just want to paint away from the blue. This is actually really probably far too thin to paint. So I'm going to turn the air down on the Mk valve. It's actually going to be a challenge to get this. Let's see, so we'll position ourselves again. Sorry, I'm knocking the camera. So I've turned the air down. That's the beauty of the Mk valve, it's very controllable. So low pressure, thin paint, we're just going to blow it in. And correct where we've made the mistake. And I'm not too worried if I have a little bit of overspray, because I can go in and correct that with the medium blue. You just want to soften that hard edge down a bit. There's a little bit of handshake going on there. With the pressure nice and low. There we go, we've softened that line somewhat. And we can go back over any other areas we fancy. Tidy up. And then if we need to touch any medium blue, we can do that. So I'm going to finish touching up, and then we'll come back to look at putting on the dark sea blue. Right, so finished touching up. I'm quite happy how the demarcation lines are looking. So we're going to start and get to painting the upper surfaces. Again, going to try and do it freehand, just to aid time. Now, with a little bit of the white paint left over, you can see white paint's coming through. We will get a darker blue in a minute. There we go. So with that white paint that's in there, I have mixed in the dark sea blue. So it's quite a thin mix. So there's a bit of thinners in there to break the white paint down to clean out the airbrush, but that's fine. And we're going to come in here, make sure that's in frame. Yeah, we're going to come in here and we're going to do the marbling effect. Now, you might not see much in the way of tonal variation, but what you should see is the variation in the overall paint finish. So instead of having a perfectly smooth, homogeneous paint surface or painted surface, we should see slight variations in how the light reflects off the paint, due to the marbling effect underneath it. This colour is slightly lighter than the dark colour, the actual colour. So I'm hoping it will have the effect I'm looking for with regards to lightening the paint, but mainly it's for this tonal variation in the overall paint finish. Again, the blue is covering very, very well over the German grey, so we shouldn't be too long in getting this top coat on. So I think you can see how we're getting on. I'm going to go over the rest of it and we'll come back when that's finished and look at putting the top coat on. Okay, so we have got all the demarcation lines painted in around the engine nacelles, the nose and the tail. Again, a little bit of post-it note to protect the vertical surfaces. So now all we need to do is blow in the overall colour and see how it ends up. Right, so let's just do it live on camera, shall we? Let's get you in frame. So we just want to make sure that when we're painting, we're angling in such a way that any paint blows away from the stuff we've already done. And we want to get down just an even coating. This paint, it covers very, very well. It's quite a strong paint, being the dark sea blue. And just tone it back when we're coming in to meeting the other panels, just so we're not getting too much overspray on the white and the intermediate blue. And that's what I really, really like about Gaahlerie's airbrushes. They've got great control, great trigger control, and the paint delivery is really, really nice and smooth. Right, that's that wing done, so we'll get the tail done here. So you can see, well, hopefully you can see the light reflecting, and when you get that solid wet look on the paint, time to stop and let it dry back, and then just be careful how you hold it. You don't want to put your thumb in the wet paint. I have done something there, whether I've dripped paint or I've put my thumb in it, I don't know. We'll have to wait for it to dry and see if it needs repairing. So same again on this side, and when you're doing it, make sure you get the leading edge of the wings and the trailing edges. You want to make sure everything needs to be covered is covered. Again, gently blow in. And then just gently walk it over the wing. So you get that nice wet look all over the wing. And then you know you've got an even paint finish. And to be fair, Tamiya's XF range, they're beautiful paints. They go down so predictably well. They self-level quite well, and the pigmentation is such that the covering is really nice. There we go. I'm actually really happy with that. That's the main colours down. I need to do a little bit of touch up on the mid blue at the wing root joint, but I'm going to wait for it to cure up, and then I'll use some masking paint just to make a more hard edge on that. But I'm overall very, very happy with the way that paint finish has come out, and it's pretty much ready to get a semi-gloss coat over it, or even a gloss coat over it, and then we can think about the decals. Once the decals are on, we can think about the weathering. But all in all, I am quite happy how that has turned out, and to me that looks reasonably good. Then we get the weather on it and distress it a little bit, it'll look even better. Right, so next time guys, it will be decaling. Hi, so welcome back to the final segment of the Revell 1/48 scale PV-1 Ventura build review. Unfortunately, I got as far as filming with the paint, and then there actually wasn't very many decals, so I didn't bother filming that. And the weathering side of the aircraft, I lost the footage, so it was pretty much in the film we got as far as paint, and then we've got the finished model. But don't worry, because you can just see in the background here we've got the Ventura Mk II, which is also known as the Boston, to paint in RAF colours, and the same weathering techniques I've used on this kit I'll be using on that kit, so I'll go more in depth for that build. So we'll look at the paint and we'll look at the weathering in that one, but predominantly this build was to follow up the inbox review and to show you all just what sort of kit you can get out of the tooling from Revell. So what we'll do is we'll get the camera set up so we can have a bit more of a close-up, and I can discuss any sort of difficult areas and what my general thoughts are, and I'll round up and give you my overall opinion and a rating for the kit. So camera on the table and we'll see what we've got. So here we go, and we've got the kit finished in front of us. Now you can see that if I get a pointer, use the scalpel, so you can see that we've got nice oil weathering on the wings to add faded weathered paint effects. We've also got it on the tailplane surfaces and along the fuselage and sides. We can look more closely at the, if you can see that, the decal for the octopus are on the turret. Now this was the most difficult decal. There's still a little bit of silver, and I really struggled to get the silver out from underneath this one, and that was down on a nice gloss finish. Also here I've had to repair the decal with some offcuts because it didn't want to come together very well and left a gap, and it's quite a difficult colour to mix, but there was enough of the decal to trim off other areas to cover the overlap. So the kit itself is finished with Tamiya acrylics. So the underside is a homemade mix of Insignia Tamiya, well, it's Insignia white, so it's basically Tamiya gloss white with some buff mixed into it, and that gets you to roughly where you need to be. The wheel wells and Bombay is US interior green, and then I think it's possibly even like I think an olive green for the bombs. We've got we've got the recognition lights, so that's amber, red and green, so it's just Tamiya clear over silver. And then the exhaust staining is a mix of rubber black and leather brown, with some intermediate grey in the middle, just to represent that sort of lead staining that was in the leaded aviation fuel. And then obviously use some oil paints to get some oil leaks on the radial engine, because radial engines leaked a lot, so add a bit of interest. And we've also used oil in on the auxiliary fuel tank to put some fuel staining on there. The antenna wires are done just with simple knitting elastic, and I think it's 0.1 mil or 0.2 mil, very, very fine. and then just painted black, and then the insulator is just painted a cream colour. And that's it. The kit went together beautifully. Absolutely no problems building it, and it's just an interesting kit, to be fair. I don't know if I would build another one with this particular decal on the rear fuselage. It was quite troublesome, and there are other really nice schemes. At least in the box you've got another dark sea blue over intermediate blue and white for a US colour, and then you've got a Royal Canadian Air Force which is intermediate blue all over with grey underside. So there's some different schemes, and then obviously if you get the Mark II you've got the Boston, so you've got your dark earth and dark green over sky, which is the next one we're going to do. So as I said before, it's just a simple build out of the box, Tamiya paints, a little grime panel line wash, and then a mix of grime and a little bit of white to give you that sort of salty, warm Pacific look. When I do the Boston next, we'll pay the same amount of attention on the paintwork as we did with this. Maybe do a little bit more on panel shading, and then I'll spend more time looking at the oil paint work. So what I did on this kit, I'm going to do the same on the Boston, and we'll be able to have a more closer look to see how I got on with that. So there's the kit. So yeah, enough waffling from me. We'll get back on me, sum up, and we'll move on to the next build. So there we go, Revell's PV-1 Ventura. I have to say, what a fantastic kit. Really, really nice. Overall thought of the kit, well, if we look at the quality of the tooling, level of detail, for its age, it's really, really good. There is aftermarket available which will detail it up a bit, but out of the box you get a fantastic kit. Easy construction, very, very good. Parts cleaned up very well, all went together very, very easily, no problems at all. Painting and decaling, painting, it's a beautiful surface to paint. It's a nice easy model to paint. Decaling, bit of a challenge with the octopus decal on the back of the body, but other than that, no problems. And overall, you can end up with a fantastic display model. So I have to say, for the price, it's a highly recommended kit. It's well worth it. And if you want a Ventura, it's really the only gig in town for this particular kit. So, if you like what you saw, please think about subscribing and put a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, pop them in the comments box below. I always take time to read and respond to questions, and I appreciate anyone who takes time to ask me a question. And if you've got any other aircraft you'd fancy me having a go at, if I can get them, I'll have a go. So until the next time, which is the Boston you see in the background, happy modelling and take care.